If you're the type of player that's looking for a fast, aggressive pick that can let you take over games, then today we have the guide for you. How's it going, guys? My name is Valued, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at one of the fastest legends on the map, Octane. And by the end of this guide, you're going to be ready to harness the speed, and who knows, you might even become the adrenaline junkie yourself. But we shouldn't get in the habit of wasting time, so let's get right into it. Jumping into Octane's abilities, let's talk about his passive, Swiftmen. Allowing Octane to regen 1.5 HP per second, it fits right in with Octane's need for speed. While it takes a few seconds of not taking damage for the healing to kick in, this helps Octane stay on the move and not have to worry about slowing down to use syringes. If you find yourself in a safe situation after a fight, you can often just skip white heals altogether, letting Swiftmen do all the work. In the early stages of the game, this can make a big difference when the fights are a bit more scrappy and you don't have powerful Evo shields yet. That being said, where this passive really shines is when healing up damage inflicted by his stim. This extra bit of healing lets Octane spam his Q and keeps him from needing to manually heal. One trick for all you Octane mains if you didn't know, if you're stuck in the zone with no healing, but you do have heat shields, you can actually pop the heat shields and use his passive to recoup some of your health. That's just a neat little trick I use, and it only works in the first couple of zones. Overall, Swiftmen is a very strong passive and suits Octane insanely well because he doesn't have to stop to heal as often as the other legends. And with Octane Stim being the focal point of his speed, the more uses he gets, the better. Speaking of Octane Stim, let's talk about the numbers on this powerful ability. His stim speeds up his walk speed by 30% and his sprint speed by a whole 40% for 6 seconds at the cost of 20 HP. Not to mention it also reduces incoming crowd control by a bit, allowing Octane to shake off the CC from an Arc Star or a Bangle a little bit easier. His stim doesn't require you to be shot at like Bangalore's Double Time or have a massive cooldown like Bloodhound's Beast of the Hunt. This ability's constant uptime and raw stat bonuses are a big reason why Octane is such a menace. Even with the recent changes in Season 9 making the health cost a lot higher, this ability alone makes him an incredibly strong legend. That being said, while his passive helps a bit in making up for some of that lost health, you definitely have to be mindful of how often you're using his stim. If you don't, you can find yourself on low HP after just a couple of uses. While it's important to move fast as Octane, you still need to make sure you're healthy enough to take fights. It's easy to get caught up in the action and overuse your stim, leaving you with very little health if someone were to crack your shields or if the zone catches up to you. Keep in mind, Octane can still perform any action while stimming, which allows for him to be incredibly fast regardless of what he's doing. And if you master advanced movements such as B-hopping or wall bouncing and combine it with Octane's speed, nobody's going to be able to keep up with you. From strafing extra fast in a gunfight to quickly B-hop healing your way to cover, Octane Stim gives you the potential to be the master of movement. If you're having trouble getting the hang of some more advanced Apex movement, be sure to check out our new guide. It's got a bunch of great info that can help you guys get started on doing all the crazy movements you see the best players pulling off, and the link will be in the description. Oh, and a bonus tip for you guys, if you're popping a Phoenix kit or a med kit, use Octane Stim right before it finishes because you literally get a free stim out of it. That's just a little tip for you guys. Moving on, we have Octane's ultimate, Launch Pad, and it's perfectly on brand for the adrenaline junkie, letting him place a jump pad that allows legends to catapult through the air. With only a 1-minute cooldown, his launch pad lets Octane set him and his team up for success in multiple situations throughout a game. Whether you want to quickly rotate POIs or you cracked an enemy squad and need a fast way to push, Octane's ult has you covered. If your squad is well coordinated, this can be a devastating team pushing tool, and with characters such as Revenant and Gibby, things can get really interesting when you combine their ultimates and abilities. The most common example is combining Revenant's Death Totem with Octane's Launch Pad, giving your squad a free push on a team. Now, I'm not telling you guys to go play this comp because it's honestly pretty toxic, but you guys should know that it is a very strong composition and allows you to get a lot of free KP when done properly. But even having a Jibby Bubble for when you land or a Bloodhound scan to know exactly where enemies are can be very strong. When using Octane's Launch Pad, keep in mind it can be destroyed with 200 damage, so don't go tossing it out right in front of your enemies. When you're hitting the pad, a good slide timing right as you hit it will give you a little bit of extra distance. You can also pop your stim right beforehand to get even more of a boost. The launch pad will let you double jump, and learning the timing on this to get maximum distance or height is crucial. In maps like World's Edge, where many POIs have tall buildings and obstacles, getting good at using this double jump to change direction or get some extra height at the peak of your launch can make a massive difference. Keep in mind, you're pretty vulnerable when launching through the air, and if there's a team close by, you can get beamed out of the sky. And if you try using this as an escape tool, keep in mind your enemies can also use this to chase after you. If this happens, you need to be the one ready to take them out of the skies. I can't tell you guys how many times I've baited a team into shooting themselves into the air on my launch pad and making them the perfect target. Even though it's not the longest cooldown, getting quality launch pads every time to help you or your team will make Octane that much more impactful. This ability requires proactive thinking and play. So always be looking to use it ahead of your team's movements, and if you think you should use it, just use it. The cooldown's not very long. In the early game, Octane's speed allows him to loot and rotate to new POIs faster than any other legend. His speed from the word go has him one step ahead of everybody else. His speed isn't just a combat tool, it reverbs through the entire game. That little bit of speed can be the difference between getting a good gun on drop before having to fight for your landing spot, or making it to that building full of loot before your opponent. If you do have to fight for your landing spot, Octane Stim and passive will let you be a menace even in the early game. Being able to quickly loot and push a team right off drop can get you a free knock, and no one does this faster than Octane. While you should avoid hot dropping, if you do need to stand your ground early and do some fighting, you couldn't choose a better legend. Just keep in mind, this is where you are at your squishiest, so don't overstim and let someone get a free knock on you. Once you're looking to move on to different locations, Octane begins to bring his mobility to his team through his ultimate. Note that Octane has the fastest ability to reposition his team in the game. You can use his ult to secure high ground, push a team, or escape from a third party. On maps like World's Edge, this can keep you from taking the stairs or zipline, and on maps like Olympus, you can get across dangerous open stretches much quicker than sprinting. Regardless of the map, using your launch pad as an entry method for your squad is a great use for it and can help you get the most out of the 1 minute cooldown. While fighting with Octane, be sure to have your stim speed active and looking to abuse it. Strafe constantly, throwing in crouches to make yourself a hard target to hit. This works on all legends, but even more so with Octane. Break line of sight with enemies often. A big perk of Octane's speed in fights is how well he can shoulder cover or kite enemies around. Always be looking to move, because if you get caught out and lose your shield, you won't be able to stim without putting yourself very, very low. With Octane, make sure you're topping off your shields constantly, giving yourself that buffer against losing your health. As you move into the later stages of the match, Octane should look to be the fragger for his team, but this doesn't mean pushing enemy squads constantly. A good Octane will slow his pacing and play around his squad very closely late game, using his squad bait's utility and team shotting to his advantage. Octane thrives early to mid game when he can be jump padding his squad around and zooming across the map. He excels at helping his team move quickly around the map and helping them reach the late game. But once he is there, Octane needs to be played cautiously. In the last few rings, squads will be set up and prepared to ruin your day if you take a lazy jump pad or catch yourself constantly stimming around. Play with your team, and if you get pushed or see an opportunity to do the pushing, be fast and brutal with your decisions. So long as you aren't getting overconfident and making silly choices, Octane can help his team close out the match by being their go button. Let's say you get a knock with a Kraber or a cheeky flatline beam. You can instantly launch pad and take the fight to your opponent. And on the off chance your squad dies and you're looking to ride yourself some extra placement, his speed and jump pad make Octane one of the best solo legends for surviving. Finding yourself last alive on Octane should be seen as a challenge, and you should put on your best rat impression to get that RP for your fallen teammates. Overall, Octane is an offensive option that has remained strong since his release. With his ultimate and built-in speed, he'll likely remain meta for many seasons to come. His kit doesn't offer much damage or utility aside from repositioning with his ult, but if you have good movement and aim, Octane is one of the most dangerous picks there is. He amplifies the mechanics of the game, and highly skilled players can seem unstoppable, but even newer players that take the time to learn the legend can be a terror on the map. While his speed may be intimidating at first, embrace it and let us know how it goes. I for one am always looking for a good challenge, and Octane's kit has enough going on for even the hardest grinders to feel satisfied. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, my name has been valued, and hopefully I've convinced some of you to join me in being an Octane main. Plus, who doesn't love his butterfly knife? Anyway guys, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.